So, Joe Biden, he just addressed the allegations of sexual assault from Tara Reade. They finally was pressed on it, this time by MSNBC host Mika Brzezinski. This was surprising for me to see MSNBC even daring to bring this up, but the media somehow flipped a switch the last couple of days. They started taking these allegations more seriously and pressing Joe Biden to at least respond. So here's the response. Go ahead and check it out.
She says in 1993, Mr. Vice President, that you pinned her against the wall and reached under her clothing and penetrated her with your fingers. Would you please go on the record with the American people? Did you sexually assault Tara Reade?
No, it is not true. I'm saying unequivocally, it never happened. And it didn't. It never happened.
Are you confident there is nothing?
I'm confident there's nothing. No one ever brought it to the attention of me 27 years ago. This is any assertion at all. No one that I'm aware of in my campaign at, my Senate office at the time is aware of any such request.
Why is it real for Dr. Ford, but not for Tara Reade?
Because the facts are, look, I'm not suggesting she had no right to come forward. And I'm not saying any woman, they should come forward. They should be heard. And then it should be investigated.
Are women to be believed unless it pertains to you?
Look, women are to be believed given the benefit of the doubt. If they come forward and say something that they said happened to them, they should start off with the presumption they're telling the truth. Then you have to look at the circumstances and the facts. And the facts in this case do not exist. They never happened.
The University of Delaware records, which have raised questions because they were supposed to be revealed to the public and then they were sealed for a longer period of time. Why not do it for both sets of records?
Because the material in the University of Delaware has no personnel files, and but it does have a lot of confidential conversations that I had with the president about a particular issue.
Well, y'all believe it? Y'all believe it? Look. We knew he was gonna play the deny game, bro. Like, we knew that was gonna occur. There was no ifs, ands, or buts about what he was going to say. Right? But you still have to look at the facts. You still have to look at the context. Now, Mika Brzezinski actually asked some tough questions there. She asked some really tough questions when she had the gall to say, okay, so does we have to believe all women apply to everyone else except Joe Biden? To his face? No, that was a really good question. I really liked that. And his response was flattening. It was, well, yeah, I mean, of course, we have to give them their due, and we have to investigate. When they're not putting the resources out there to actually help us investigate, they're not going to open up the University of Delaware archives. They're only going to open up the National Archives. And he was like, "Hey, if you want to know information, you're going to have to go to the Senate offices." Yeah. Okay, all right, Joe. Okay, Joe. Listen, I've gotten to the point I don't believe a word coming out of Joe's mouth. But I will say this: just looking objectively at the situation. Is it possible that he genuinely does not remember what happened 27 years ago? Yes. Could that reason be because over his career he's done this to dozens and dozens and dozens of countless women? Very possibly. Is there certainly a pattern of his sexual misconduct, inappropriate touching and behavior? Absolutely. We see it in public, bro. Handsy Joseph. This man comes up from behind and is like... He does this little, it's so weird. It's so, he has a history of it. And people have been telling him for decades, Joe, you need to calm yourself. You're up here, you need to take it down here. You are doing a lot right now. People don't like it when you come up from behind and start kissing on them, Joe. And like he does it with this like Uncle Joseph persona. Uncle Joe, he's just your uncle. He's your handsy, rapey uncle. That's what he is. It's really freaking strange. It's obvious. There's certainly a pattern of that at least occurring. Look, and even beyond just Joe Biden being a handsy, creepy, little weird fuck, you have to understand this. There's something that happened here. The facts and evidence are abundantly clear. The corroboration is strong. When you had a coworker, an intern at the time, come out and say, yes, I remember something like this occurring. When you have a neighbor of hers come out and say, yeah, as soon as it happened, she talked to me about it. I believed her then and I believed her now. Quote unquote, I believed her then and I believed her now. When you had her mother call in on some recently surfaced tape of her mother called in on Larry King back in like 94 and was like, yo, my daughter, she got fired from her job and she respects the person she was working for, so she doesn't know what to do. What do we do? What do we do? What do we do? Guys, something happened. And the hypocrisy is incredible. Because it should not have taken weeks and weeks and weeks for however long this allegation's been out there, surfacing around progressive media and alternative media. Then the media outlets finally pick it up once Bernie dropped out. They finally picked it up and started talking about it, gave it its little due, gave it a little headline deep down in the paper and was like, recent allegations from specifically those on the far right, they're talking about these allegations against Joe Biden, but there's discrepancies in her story, so there's not really a pattern, so this is what they were saying. And after weeks of that, now they finally get this guy to come out and address this. After weeks and weeks and weeks, the hypocrisy is incredible. The bias is incredible from the media and the hypocrisy and bias from those in establishment Democrat circles. It's disgusting. When you had Stacey Abrams, female candidate, champion of women, specifically black women, to come out and say, yeah, just completely throw this woman under the bus and say, listen, I don't know much about these allegations, but what I do know is that Joe Biden's been a champion for women. And after seeing the investigation, I can still completely, wholeheartedly believe that. What in the hell? Obviously, something happened. Stacey, something clearly happened. When you had Hillary Clinton, the day we had evidence of the neighbor and the coworker and the Larry King tape come out, Hillary Clinton endorses this man in like a women's conference. The hypocrisy, the bias, the empty suitness. It's disgusting. Just the bias and just the disgusting empty suit, lack of principledness just oozes out of their pores. They don't care. They're shameless. It doesn't matter, the hypocrisy, that when it was Brett Kavanaugh, when it was Clarence Thomas, when it was Harvey Weinstein, when it was every single one of these high-profile men who went down because they had a series of allegations against them. They were all about #MeToo back then. They were all about we believe the accusers back then. They were all about give them their due, take them at their word back then. But now, when the political winds turned, they were gone. They were gone. They can't be on Tara Reade's side because now it's their ass on the line. It's their career on the line. Now Joe Biden stands a chance of being president. Now Joe Biden stands a chance of being the leader of this party. So they're in a position. And they're like, okay, I can either come out against this and say, no, something clearly happened, but I still support the guy. They can say, no, something clearly happened, and I don't support the guy because of it. Or they can say, and this is what they're doing, I'm an unprincipled hack. I have no beliefs. I have no moral bone in my body. So I'm going to abandon all my champion of women crap that I was spewing for decades and say, no. Listen. There's been an investigation. I still believe Joe Biden. Really? It's not just Stacey Abrams. Kristen Gillibrand, too. The women candidate. Really? Coming out and endorsing this guy and saying, look, you know, I don't know. All I know is Joe Biden's a good guy. Y'all are pathetic. There's evidence. There's facts. Something happened. We don't know to the depth and we don't know to the severity. Something happened. And stop acting like this guy doesn't have a pattern of inappropriate behavior with the touching and the rapiness and the weirdness. Something happened. Just because you want political favors and you want political expediency and you want your career to stay on track, that's not okay to then throw under the bus every single one of your principles. And that right there, ladies and gentlemen, is what is wrong with Washington. When the political winds turn, they always turn with it. Because they don't give a damn about principle. They don't give a damn about what's right or wrong. They care about themselves, their donors, and furthering their own career. Because they are egotistical, unprincipled, immoral hacks. And that's what many of the politicians in Washington are, the vast majority. That's why we gotta shake it up.
With the boys, yeah, we making all this noise. Can't complain, riding in the fast lane. To the top, we don't stop up till past 5 o'clock, smoking trees.